Hello and welcome to August 9th Alpha's KR at 118%. But let's get the bad news out of the way. Stochastics is still running behind at a minus 7.8, and the SPY is holding ground at 18.8. Even with the down market, but it's not much of a down. I mean, it's only 4 points out of 4,000. I mean, look at that, 0.09. And everybody gets all excited. And then the Dow down 100 points over 30 from 35,000 points. And the Nasdaq is the only one who made any kind of movement of 24 points, and the Russell was down 12 points on the today's place, and they're at 22.12. So, again, as I said before, if your trading strategy like Stochastic right now is not doing well, then we have to move on to another trading strategy. And with that said, let's go on down to the main event, and the main event is right here at KR, 118%. Now, today is Monday, and we haven't done it for a while, so we're going to do a step through every one of the positions and determine what we are going to be doing. Also note, too, these two here are the draggers. They are dragging the whole thing down, and that's because they should have been stopped out months ago, or a month and a half ago, because they did hit through their initial stop, which was the red line here on the first ratio. And well, we'll talk about that when we get there. Let's go on and move before we lose on them with time. So 118 for KR. KR had a small retracement, and now is going into a up. This is now considered a minor support. Price stays above here for any length of time, it will become a major support. Remember, I drew these lines on the Elliott wave, and so this arrow here represents that drop, and that point there that I drew represents this bottom point here. Then we are in for a climb up, and we are holding at 118% on $500 against a node of 20-30. So we're about 25% in the recovery. Okay, that takes care of KR. Going on to PG. Oh, and then the battle plan. Oh, other thing. Remember, all the exits have been qualified. The first 4 exits have been qualified. The initial stop, number 1. The EP, number 2. The first ratio, number 3, and the third ratio, number 4. We only have 3 more exit types left for KR. They are 1. If ROI here hits 200 plus, we have to consider taking that money off the table. That will take us close to almost 50% of the owed. The other is hitting the 10x here on the trade. Another consideration for an exit. Or number 3, DTE. That's right. We'll be going all the way to 14 October. So 14 October is our exit date, and that's still over 60 days away. So the idea is to prove that the DTE theory works, providing that we use some stops to avoid this with the YELP and AT&T, who had no stops. This is our benchmark for the DTE. So moving on, let's go on to PG. And here at PG, it's still price is still above the EMA. This trade was initiated back on 6/25. It's also in October, and it's so far back that we have to reset our time frame here so that we can see where it was. There it was, and there was the entry right there. So this is already received. This passes first initial, and then the EP, then the first ratio. It's waiting to see if it can clear the 142.90 to get the third ratio exit. If it doesn't, then it will sit there until it gets to DTE, which is right there. There's our blue line. October 14th is right there. Is the blue line 1 day prior to expiration. Okay, going on to MACD. McDonald's is quite interesting because the news said McDonald's had good sales at same stores, and I'm going like, okay, then how come my put is winning? Yes, our put is winning. Look at that. And we're at the first ratio. So any exit at here at the first ratio will produce some kind of profit. Not a big profit, but something to chip away at the ode for the lost leader traders and profit for the freshly scanned traders. So freshly scanned traders right now are doing a nice little profit there. Not a lot of money, it's only one contract. But if you had money and had 10 contracts, that would be add another 0 to the 1020, I mean the 102, and to become 1020. And we only got into this trade just recently, back on July 30th was the initiation or the setup for the trade. Okay, well that takes care of that. Now we're going to Raytheon. Yeah, we're just waiting for to see if we can get past. Now we can get past. Now remember, this is also a put. This is being a DTE. This is not a DTE trade. Now DTE here is let me know when this expires. But you can see here, there's no DTE here. This is a straight down stochastic trade. As price crosses and closes at each ratio, I will then move the stop to that ratio. So I'm waiting for it to close below the 232. If it closes below 232, I will move the stop to 232.40. And then if it closes below 227.50, I will then move the stop there. So that's why in puts, this DTE theory, trading theory, does not play for puts. It's only a call. It's a call uptrend. So that said, let's go on to RTX. And here at RTX, we have, zoom in a little bit more. And RTX is still struggling to try to get that first ratio. But because the reason look also because this is extremely wide. That is what's working against us. Is we had this big pop-up. If this had been a small candle, we would have already had our 3-to-1 opportunity here. But because it's a wide range and we stick to the rules of how to set this when we're doing our setups. So our stop is here at 84.84, but you can see we had a nice support being developed here, and it's going through dojis, and it's still inclining on the EMA. So this could still be considered an accumulation by somebody, and we'll see. Okay, now we go on to the negatives and how we're going to handle the negatives in the closing minutes. XLV, let me store here. XLV is a put, and you see it had a little move up, but since we did not clear our first ratio, we do not have a first ratio. Actually, and we haven't even cleared the entry. We're still at the initial, so we can end up losing a 1 risk to a 3 reward here. Possibility, we'll have to see how it works out. It's at -5. Okay, so that takes us to Visa. How we handle Visa. Visa is a call. And again, it hasn't cleared the gantry, so it does not, the stop is here at the red, 234. And then once it clears, price is able to clear that 240.42, then we'll be looking to moving the stop up along the line. And this is a, well, I should mark in here, this is a DTE trade. There, that's another thing too about your notes. So this is a, there we go. All right. Okay, so now that takes us to RCL. RCL is there. And the broke out a little bit into the getting filled, but it was not able to hold on. But it has a nice little hammer here. Possibility that this could come down a little bit more, hit our resistance zone in the center, and then come back up again. Again, we'll be risking 1 to make 3. And this is a DTE also, so I could catch up on this because we made that change in August. So DTE, here we go. That's because it's what the rules are we applying. And then that now takes us, now tell Ray I am going to do a separate video on. And so we'll jump over to YELP. In YELP, you know, we had that big humongous candle, but look here. That big humongous candle established a breakthrough zone. So therefore, we now have a hammer right here with opportunity that this is going to of going up and getting into the game. And now we have closing. We have T for AT&T, and AT&T is flatlining. So it could be a little. You can see the EMA is starting to ever flat so much. Well, with that said, we're going to conclude today's report for losers become winners. And catch you at the next videos on TLRY.